As we kickstart this edition of Fut-Afrique, we answer that trivia question. That's the splash of fun that we put into the show. We want to answer last week's trivia question that we left dangling in the air. The question that we asked you was all about Andre Ayew. Now, he had a record of 36 appearances at the recent Africa Cup of Nations. He shares that record with someone. We wanted to know who that someone was. Simple.
Yeah, that was indeed. It was a giveaway. We actually gave so many clues last week around this one.
Did you say he has dreads?
Yeah. You said he's got dreads just like Adiosi said. So now that is a Rigobert song record holder, played between 1998 and 2010. 8 AFCON tournaments in total.
Yep, 8 AFCON tournaments. The big question is, will he still be the coach when they go to the next Africa Cup of Nations? That's if they do qualify for it. As you know, there's a lot of speculation, a lot of talks around that Cameroonian Football Association. Samuel Eto'o wanted to resign after the Africa Cup of Nations. The FA executives saying, no, you are going nowhere. We are going to fix it all together. But alas, let's talk about the trivia question that we have lined up for you this week. And this is where we want to bring in your brains. We want to ask you about the CAF Champions League. There is a particular player or players who have a record of particular goals in a single season in the CAF Champions League. We want to know who was that player or players, how many goals they scored, and in which season did they secure that record.
Spicy.
I had to throw it in there. But yeah, that's the trivia question for this week. So if you think you know the answer, make sure that you interact with us on all social media platforms. Use the hashtag, the only one that matters, hashtag Fut-Afrique. Now, the CAF Champions League is a competition that is progressing. We're now reaching the quarterfinal stages, which in normal tournament terms, this is the knockout stages, right? Now, only 2 spots remain. 5 teams still are available and can secure that spot, but only 2 can go through. Very interesting that we've come to this point. I think the CAF Champions League year after year gets more interesting, but I don't know if you got a chance to see the games. I mean, the CAF Champions League now after the AFCON.
Yeah.
Do we see a slight difference as to where we started and where we are now?
There's been slight difference being the fact that some players are hungrier.
Yeah.
They want to prove a point. Those that never made the cut from the national team are coming up and really raising and they say, you know what, I'm here and I can do much better. So that's the nice thing about it. Number 2 is the fact that you're also seeing the similar faces in the next round. Bar Asec Mimosa, not regularly they've not been for the longest of time. Finding themselves in the knockout stages. So maybe what the was just rubbed off a bit on them.
Imagine they win it.
You know, it's going to be another twist, a beautiful twist to it. But I mean, we already have 4 former champions through already. Al Ali being one of those, Mamadi Sundowns coming, Asec Mimosa coming in, TP Mazembe is already there, you know, and so those are the teams that have gone through. Out of the teams that have gone through, only 2 have never won it before. But there's a moment for Wydad to join that number as well. But they're going to do the job themselves.
Against ASEC Mimosa.
They're playing ASEC Mimosa already qualified, they've got nothing to lose. While on the other hand, you also have a Simba SC that takes on Jwaneng Galaxy. Jwaneng Galaxy can only qualify if they win their game. They have to win their game.
Let's talk about them, right? Yeah. Year after year, they get better. Year after year, they're the surprise package. I do believe that maybe in 3 years from now, they will be champions.
One thing that Botswana has done very well.
Get to the final.
You know, one thing that Botswana have done very well. 1, they've invested money in their teams. 2, when they went and required Seveso Morena to come on board to be the head coach of the team. Also, what they introduced in Botswana was to say that no players want to come and play in our country if they're not in Botswana and don't have caps in their national teams.
Yes.
We got to bring quality into the nation, but not just quantity, but quality players must come in to enhance and improve what we have. Because what is the use to bring Itu into our team
but she doesn't
when
play
she doesn't play for the national team? So she doesn't want to bring anything. We're not going to benefit anything from that, you know? So that's what they've changed. But number 2 is that the gap has narrowed. The gap has narrowed in a way that everybody's now trying to understand what needs to happen going forward. And they're doing the job themselves. So I believe that it's going to be a very interesting one. I mean, for me, I look at that game, number 1, Wydad, that is Jwaneng is going to take on Simba SC. We also have a situation of ASEC playing their game in the other hand. So there's a lot to play for them.
Yeah.
But the other group that I'm interested in is a group we've got 2 teams still vying for the 1 position.
Yep.
And what makes it interesting also, Itu, is the fact that even though you got Etoile Dus, you got Esperance,
yes,
the Tunis, sitting on top in their own league in their country, all right? They now have to play against a team they already lost against in the groups. They already lost against Al Hilal on the road. Now they must face Al Hilal in the last game, knowing that a draw will suffice, but Al Hilal will come in and looking for a win in that match against them. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they hold their own in this game to try and upset and make sure they stay in contention to go to the next round.
Should the stadium turn into a sea of yellow and red, I can tell you now that nothing is going to stop them. We saw how they performed in the African Football League when they had to win. They pushed it all the way to penalties and obviously came out victorious from there. So I don't doubt them in this point.
Listen, I mean, football has proven that there's a lot to talk about. I mean, if you look at there is a Tunis, Esperance de Tunis, the last time they lost a game was against Al Hilal. Since then, in a match that between 8 matches in total, they've either won or drawn. So they haven't lost a game since that particular encounter. But Al Hilal, on the other hand, will come in here believing that, you know what, we can actually come out and fight. But they've not been consistent enough. If you look at the way they've played in their recent matches, you know, they've had a loss, a draw, and so really need to up their end to be able to upset the Tunisians in front of their own fans at home. It's going to be a big one for them.
An interesting one is that the defending champions are still in the running. Not necessarily interesting because it's just like, if not them, then who is supposed to be part of the finalists or the knockout stage teams. What do you make of their performance thus far in this competition? And also over the years, is Al Ahly just dominant because it's Al Ahly, or is the quality of play really just getting better?
What Al Ahly does, which is very important, if you remember the words of then coach Peter Musimani said, in the group stages, it is not you winning all of the matches.
It's not about how you start.
And also you need to just maintain so you can be able to get to the next round.
Longevity.
What you need to focus on is winning the matches when you get to the knockout stages. Group stages is about just staying within. That's all you got to do. Sundowns, on the other hand, are playing against TP Mazembe, a team both have qualified, but it's all about who will win the group. Mazembe already caused an upset against Sundowns in this competition. Can they do it again is the big question. This time in Tshwane.
This time in Tshwane, we're going to need every single person in yellow because that guarantees you free entrance into the stadium. We want that drum beating because not only do they represent the team of Mamelodi, but they also represent South
Before
Africa.
we go, Itu, by the way, I just want to say shout out to someone.
To who?
Jermaine Soposino. Welcome to the platform.
That conversation comes up next. Auntie Diski is back.